kind of a big deal.
Really?
People know me.
What is up, everybody? This is Nick Marty with Bearded Bites and Breakdowns. We're doing a little thing different today. Normally we have, sports people on or, music people. Today we are going to have a gentleman who is a man of the people when I say this, and is a very down-to-earth person that I've gotten to get to know for the past couple of weeks now, probably about 2 months. And he's very down to earth. He's talked to me a bunch of times now. He's running for the candidate. He's the candidate for the Citrus County School Board District 3. JOHN THRUMSTON. I knew I was going to mess it up. John, I knew I was going to mess it up when I went live,
That's
man.
all right. That's okay. Hey, I understand a lot of people have that problem, but it's JOHN THRUMSTON.
There you go. JOHN THRUMSTON.
Yeah.
John,
hey, I appreciate you
that.
having me on. It's really nice that you take your time to do this.
I listen, I appreciate you on. I normally don't have I always told myself I wouldn't do politics or anything like that. But I gotta say, my significant other, Heather Henniges, who is running for CCCF, I believe, seat 2, and she's on the bottom of the ballot. So please vote for her. Don't vote for the person that she's going against, and because I need nice home cooked meals, and I do not want her to be upset with me and then starve me to death. Okay. So with that being said, John, I wanted to have you on because I feel like a lot of people like me, myself, I'm not a big politic kind of person. Okay. I'm just not into it. It's just not my cup of tea. My dad's into it. He loves it. He won't shut up about it. At times I'm kind of like on the phone going, yeah, dad, love you. Yeah. He's still talking. Okay. I'm having you on because I want you to tell everybody, what does the school district board, what do they actually do? What are you running for?
Well, first of all, I'd like to start off with just saying the reason why I'm running, and then I'll move into that. But
okay,
when Doug Dodd decided that he was going to not run again and retire, it left that school board seat open. And a gentleman who was my opponent decided that he was going to run. He jumped out there early and got involved, and he was going to run unopposed. And I'm one of those guys that believes in the political process, that if you want that job, you need to get out there, you need to work for it, you need to talk to the people and let them hear what you have to say. And everybody, should be elected with opposition, not opposition. So that's one of the reasons why I'm running is to give the people a choice, and they do have a choice now. They have a choice between, my opponent who was with the education system for 35 years. And he's a very knowledgeable guy. He understands the process. But I thought we needed a business guy. It's been a better part of 30 years, to my recollection, since we've had a business guy on the school board. And, the school board itself was intended, to have people that were in business to oversee the budgets and those kinds of things. So we just bring a different perspective than an educator's perspective to the school board. And that's why I'm running.
Well, I'm glad you're running because I feel like, this year, just looking at some of the candidates that are running, they're just regular people like us that are just, trying to get their name out there, trying to just make it better, like try to make a change.
Yeah.
I talked to Matt Taylor the other day when we went to go see him. And, Matt DeWelder was like, hey, listen, I want to just do my term. try to fix it as much as I can, and then go back to doing what I was doing, welding. You know, I know you used to be a county commissioner and everything, so you know, to me, I think it's great to see you come out of like, kind of like, I guess, retirement or so. You know, but in a
Yeah,
way, run for something else, right?
yeah, I was a commissioner many years ago here in Citrus County. And I got defeated and went about my life, and continue with my business and raising my family, and and doing those types of things. And I decided, you know what, it's time to get back involved again. And so that's why I'm here, getting involved again, serving my community. I'm in a position in my life now to where I don't need the financial support from that job. And and I'm running for the people. I mean, I'm using my own funds. I'm not collecting any donations or contributions. It's all self-funded at the end of the day. So I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to tell you, some more stuff. One thing that I think that confuse people is with the school board is that we have a elected superintendent of schools. And a lot of school districts have a hired or appointed superintendent of schools, and they think that there's a significant difference between the two, and there's really not. They are accountable to the voter as an elected superintendent, and accountable to the school board if they're appointed or hired. They don't have any more power than one over the other. They still, have to clear everything through the board. They don't have any jurisdiction to approve budgets or hires or set policy or any of those kinds of things. And I think that's a misconception in our community, that the school superintendent has more leverage over the board than a hired one, and that's just not the case. A school board, district school board, underneath Chapter 101.41 of Florida statutes, it lays out what the job duties are and responsibilities of a local school board. It's like 11 pages long. It's very detailed, but some of the things that we do is, we implement it, or we adopt the school programs and curriculum for the school district. So what your students are taught, we adopt that curriculum. Now it's brought forward by the superintendent of schools, but we have the final say in it on what we want to see and how we want it to operate. The school start times, some of that is set by statute. We have to start before a certain time of the year. But like, for instance, the school times when, our elementaries, middle school, and high schools, what time do they go to school? We set that kind of stuff. We approve personnel. We designate positions to be filled. We prescribe qualifications for those positions. We hire, we appoint those positions. We set the pay. We approve promotions, suspensions, dismissal of employees, those kinds of things. They all have to be run through the school board. That's not something that the superintendent has final say over. And a lot of people believe that that's the case, and it's not. We oversee employee contracts, vendor contracts. We're charged with student safety and the welfare of the schools. We approve the transportation, the routes, all that kind of stuff for transportation. We oversee the finances, budgets, loans, credit cards, bonding. We control the property. We maintain the schools. We oversee the assets, the baseball fields, the auditoriums, all those kinds of things. We direct the superintendent on how we want that money to be spent and how it's going to be done. And I think one of the big things that we do that a lot of people aren't aware of is we initiate internal audits for the school district. And that's, for efficiencies of operations, financial records. We safeguard our assets. We check for financial solvency, projected revenues, expenditures, any rate of change in our general fund balance, those kinds of things that we direct and we look at to make sure that, financially we're secure and we're set. We look over, we do the lunch programs. We do we provide lunch for those that need it. We do a summer lunch program. We approve that kind of stuff. So, there's many things that's covered within our job duties and our details, which, some people think, well, you need to be an educator to know that. No, you do not. I mean, you need to be a business person, in my opinion, to understand some of this stuff, because it's very complex. The school board member doesn't actually do the physical work, but they have staff that does that stuff. But you have to understand it. You have to be able to say, hey, look, where are we going to cut things if we're going to, run into shortfalls or those kinds of things. But, that's some of what the school board member does.
Yeah. I appreciate you explaining that, because I didn't know y'all controlled the schedule like that. I know like Hernando County, I'm going to tell you right now, like I have a lot, like I grew up in Hernando County. So I've heard a lot of bad things. I've heard a lot of good things about the school starting late and then ending late. But I'm also going to tell you right now, it affects the youth programs when it comes to outside and all that. It affects just the late start times and everything like that. I hope you guys don't go to that, but I also understand like you guys are going to try to tweak whatever you can to what it makes sense, but also take into consideration if you guys ever do that, and if you end up winning, and which I really hope you do. I really hope you guys take and consider like the parents. Like it's crazy. Like some of us parents, I used to work at Pepsi, so I didn't have time to go pick up a kid, go take a kid to school, wait there for, hours on end to go and to drop them off. Also too, we got a ton of questions coming in. So far, like I got Leland Ship. He wants to know, John, you served as the county commissioner and run a local business. How does the real world experience prepare you to serve on the school board? That's a good question.
Yeah, it is. Thanks, Leland. I appreciate the question. I think the biggest thing is coming from the private sector in the business world. We're not given an open checkbook. We have to understand how to balance our employees, how to make payroll at the end of the day. We have to understand, in business, what sells, what doesn't sell, where you make money, how you do it. And so by having to do that on a daily basis and weekly basis as a business guy, you begin to realize that there's a better way of doing things other than just business as usual. And that's what I will bring to the school board, is a different perspective on how we balance our budget and how we do things. Right now, the school district, is losing about $4 million a year to student loss. And we'll get into that later, student retention and stuff. But, our budget is going to be reduced by almost 6% this year. So, how are we going to make up that shortfall? What are we going to do? Being a business guy, I'm going to be looking at different things that I would do as a business guy, but not as a teacher or a school employee. And the county is going to be, if the initiative passes with the taxes, they're going to be in a big situation as well of a shortfall. So, why wouldn't we look at partnering with the county and partnering with other constitutional officers to, see how we can be more efficient, maybe in how we buy our supplies, for instance, how we take care of buying bulk fuels, how we can look at sharing resources for, HR. How can we, everybody buys, air filters and light bulbs and, printers and paper and all those kinds of things that, we should be resourcing those in one situation, not everybody have their own little fiefdom. And I think as we move forward, we're going to have to start thinking like that. And, being a business guy, that's how I survived my whole life, is trying to be creative and bring innovative ideas and solutions to be able to survive in the world.
One of the questions that came in, it's not on actual line, but one of the questions was, how do you think you can fix the school bus driver shortage? by chance,
Well,
if you can try to fix it anyways.
Well, I first of all, well, this gives me a good opportunity. I think first of all, we have to have a process in place, which the school district does not have. They have a Mickey Mouse at best exit, interview with bus drivers and teachers on, why they're leaving or what have you. And we have to have a process in place that is anonymous, one that we can really find out why these people are leaving. Is it behavioral issues from students? Is it pay? Is it bad management? Is it bad, difficult work hours? What is it? Why are they leaving? And I think before we can fix that problem, we first have to find out why. And without a policy in place, and that's something that the school board can do, is implement a policy that gives us the answers that we need to fix the problem. So until we do that, I don't have an answer, but that's where I would start, is trying to find out why.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're able to help fix that issue, I'm going to tell you right now, you'll probably be able to eat free at some restaurants, because I know some parents would buy your dinner every time they saw you, because and everybody else on that school board, because I'm going to tell you right now, as a parent that had a kid that didn't have a bus for a good 4 months towards the end of the school year, off and on, like it was very frustrating.
Well, I mean, I think it's a problem that's across the state, actually. But in order to fix something, we have to have the discussions. We have to have, answers to be able to understand why and fix them. And maybe they're having those discussions, maybe they're not. I haven't heard them delving into it that deep. But the first thing I would do is put a policy in place, and that would go for school bus drivers, administration, teachers, parents, to be able to find out and get good, honest feedback, from people of why are teachers leaving. I mean, you think you got a problem there? We're losing between 100 and 125 teachers every year that we have to rehire. We're losing, we're losing over 400 students every year. I mean, that, you're talking about $4 million that we're losing out of the revenue, and we don't really know why. I mean, we can surmise why, and it's not always about the money, but at the end of the day, in order to provide a good public school system, you have to have funding. You have to be able to get the money. And so if we don't put in a policy in place that allows us to find out the real reasons, and then implement policy and procedure from a school board's position to be able to fix those problems. And some of them may not be able to be fixed locally. Some of them may be, a state or federal issue.
Yeah.
But
I think,
if we can come together and agree, then we can now go to our legislators, and we can partner with other school districts across the state and say, hey, look, this is the problems we're having, and you guys need to give us more latitude. You need to change legislation that allows us to do more things. So, but we have to have those discussions, and we're not.
So I'm a pretty good listener, even though my fiance will probably think I'm not at times. But my thing is this: is when I'm listening to all these candidates and everything like that at these events, I notice a couple things. I noticed that, like, when it comes to like, hey, can we afford it? Can we try to change it? Can we afford it? We have to find somewhere else to be able to find the funds. We got to cut something else and everything like that. I feel like when it comes to like bus drivers, they should be kind of like a state employee in a way. If we can somehow manage that, where they can make, my future mother-in-law is a bus driver, and she makes a really good money for being a bus driver, and she works over the summer and everything like that. But what what, but that's in a different state. I feel like when it comes to listening to all these candidates, though, and the people talking and asking all these questions, the big thing I noticed, and you spoke on it, is we're losing teachers. We're losing good teachers. We're losing good students. We're losing some good athletes, student athletes. We're losing some good families too, to homeschool or to private school, because the fact that we are not doing certain things. Like, I can tell you right now, my two sons, they're twins. They're going to be 16 tomorrow. So happy birthday to my boys, Cameron and Nicholas. But they've been homeschooled before COVID. And the reason why, John, we homeschooled them, me and my ex-wife, my wife at the time, we homeschooled them for the reason that the schools weren't taking their time with them, especially my son Nicholas, who's dyslexic and everything like that. They weren't taking the time to help him out. And they were said, well, you need to hire a tutor. Why do I'm sorry, but it's supposed to be an education, right? Like, we shouldn't have to hire a tutor. We should have the school help them out. And they didn't. They chose them, just pass them along. Like, hey, he just passed this grade, and we didn't want that anymore. We wanted him to understand why, like certain things when it came to math problems and all that stuff. So what can we do better to maintain good people and stuff?
Well, that's a good question. And I wish I had the whole answer to that, but I guess the short answer is that statute drives classroom help for teachers. Mm-hmm. And with total inclusion in the school system, you have the lesser educated children and the very higher educated child and the one that's in between, and they're all learning at a different level, and they're all learning from different lesson plans. And you have one teacher that has to teach 25 or 27 kids different lesson plans. Statute says that the schools must hire help for her, an aide for her or him, the teacher, and we're not doing that. Nope. Why are we doing that? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that, but I can tell you, if I get elected, I'm going to get the answer to it, and mm-hmm. we're going to get those teachers help, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. And why are teachers and people leaving? I don't know, but if we start a magnet trade school, this is another thing that I want to talk about is trade schools. Please. The magnet trade school, if we can start a magnet trade school, we can avoid a lot of issues that the state requires us to do for funding. Well, number one is disciplinary actions and those types of things, because the parent has to sign an agreement to come to the magnet trade school to, that basically, we don't have to follow the exact same rules that we have to follow with state funding to get that money. So, mm-hmm. so we have a little more latitude there when we start doing that. And you get these young kids, young, and you start to see where their interests are at and what tweaks their interest, and you start focusing on that when they're younger. Then you start them down a direction and a path. So as they get older, by middle school if you're going to have a blue collar kid or a college kid. And we're 52% of college graduates aren't even working in the field that they went to school for. So why not get these kids and point them in a direction, get them working in these trades, which is needed in this community, dearly needed in this community. And what you do with that is now you start to bring kids back into your school system, because that's something that the homeschool can't provide or the private school can't provide. Mm-hmm. So, it's just another tool that we would have in the box if we could do that, to be able to make it enticing for parents to bring their children back to Citrus County schools. But we have to have those conversations. We have to have that. And there's state funding, there's federal funding in place. We've got great representative in JJ Grow, who is all on board. with trying to do something with that. We have Ralph Missoula, who's in leadership role in the Senate. I'm sure if he had a conversation, he's all about education. Wilt Simpson, who is our agriculture commissioner, if he's reelected, he started a magnet school in Polk County. And so we have the people in place to be able to get the funding that we need to be able to, begin the process. We just need to put together some people in a room, parents, teachers, students, businessmen, to find out what it is that's the best for our community and start working on a magnet program. I think it would be an option that will help a lot of things in a lot of different ways.
I feel like it would help out. Like, so, you got your kids that are wanting to graduate and know they want to go to college and everything. Then you have those kids that are kind of like, hey, I don't know what I want to do in life and everything like that. Some of them join the service, which is great. And then you have others that are still trying to find out what they want to do in life. And to me, like, I'll give you an example. So my twin boys, they at first, one wanted to be a welder. The other one was thinking about being a cop and everything like that. Now all of a sudden, one wants to be a plumber, the other one wants to be a mechanic. Not if is wanting to go to college. Not everybody wants to start their adult life with if they're not fortunate or lucky to have scholarships, they will go ahead and they don't want to end up in debt. So like you got folks that you got kids that are wanting to go do trade school. They're going to make way more than what, some kids at a college with 4-year degree will make their first 2 years, because they got to pay back that student loan. That student loan doesn't go away no matter how old you are. So like, to me, I feel like we should push trade schools. Like we should push our we should have trades. I mean, I remember I had home ec in middle school. I had shop class and I had auto shop class in high school. Why we get rid of those programs? It helped me out understanding stuff. When I have kids that were in my class that were more mechanically inclined, because I'm going to tell you right now, my dad was like Tim the Two-Man Taylor when it came to home improvement stuff. Like he thought duct tape was the simple thing to fix everything,
Well, so, in a lot of our behavioral issues, I think, are in the middle school. Those kids don't want to sit still. They don't want to just do, go read a book or do their math or whatever. They want to be busy. They want to use their hands. They're full of energy. And if we can start these kids off at the younger age with trades and start teaching them, before we lose them, once we get them out of middle school and we get them into high school and they don't have a pathway, they just quit. We lose them. And then what do? They end up, working at McDonald's, or they, end up in trouble, or they end up in jail, or, they, do whatever they can to make ends meet. And if we can give them those opportunities, while they're young in the school system, it's a home run. And, I don't know if you've seen my Facebook page, but, when I started the campaign, I called, a bunch of friends of mine that are all business guys in the community. I have over 50 of them. And, they're all in. They all say the same thing. We can help financially to some degree. We need help. We don't have a work pool to choose from. We need air conditioning guys, electricians. We need plumbers. We need appliance repairmen. We need auto mechanics, small engine mechanics, auto body guys, paint guys, people to work in paint stores. I mean, carpet layers, tile guys. It's endless. And we're missing an opportunity, I think, in this community to try and push that. And it's a win for everybody. It brings kids back to our school system. It keeps them in our school system, and it helps support our community as a whole. This is a bedroom community that's highly reliant on trades, on services. And these kids graduate from school, they don't have any trades. They don't, what do? They go to college, and some of them don't even do that. So I think we're missing the boat. And if I get elected, that's something that I'm going to push hard. And if I don't get elected, I'm going to push it hard, just because it's something that needs to happen.
Just to add to that, and so I want to piggyback on two things about the middle school. I feel like, so the reason why the middle school kids are a little bit more rambunctious is because, their bodies are changing, their hormones are changing, everything like that. Trust me, I see it all the time when I coach those age groups. They all change, and they don't know how to handle their emotions sometimes. And I feel like, that's what was great about, like, I remember I used to have PE for like 2, almost 3 hours, it felt like, at times in school, because we played tetherball. We had tetherball. We had tetherball competition tournaments, and I mean, they were very competitive. They were very competitive back in the day. But what I also want to tell you too is, because I heard Mike Rowe, that the former host of Dirty Jobs and stuff.
Yes,
he was on Sean Ryan, and he said 400,000. I believe
electricians.
Electricians.
400,000
are needed.
400,000 electricians that were needed in the United States right now,
and welders. And welders.
Yes.
On top of that, more they need at least over 100,000 welders, something like that.
Yeah.
So to me, like, and I know a lot of welders. They make a lot of good money. They work hard for their money and everything like that. I know a bunch of pipe fitters that work for the unions and stuff. And good friends with them. They make a good living. I mean, they work hard for the money, but they get a good amount of money to do what they do because they're good.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Mike Rowe would be an advocate for us. I would bet, I bet you a dozen chicken wings. We're going to talk about that at the end, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
A dozen chicken wings that we could get Mike Rowe to come here and talk about the importance of it and talk about the initiative. And he can probably even help us on a federal level to get financing for that kind of stuff. So the avenues are out there. The need is out there. With artificial intelligence coming in, it's taking more and more jobs every day. But I still don't see it taking a guy that's going to come in and fix a refrigerator, or a guy that's going to come fix your water heater, or a guy that's going to come in and fix your toilet. They're not going to be able to create a machine anytime in our lifetimes, probably, that's going to do that. So we still have to fill those jobs and those service jobs. And with school vouchers in place and the world changing like it is, we have to change with it. And if we don't start to change with it, we're going to get left behind. And at the end of the day, who's going to suffer at the end? Won't be you and I, because we won't be around. But our kids and their children and their grandchildren, they're the ones that are going to suffer from this. And so, as a leader and as a, someone in the community that, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be setting the next generation up not to fail. And if we don't do some of these things that we've been discussing tonight, we're setting them up for failure. Yeah. And that's not acceptable to me. It's just not. I mean, that's another reason why I'm running. And, I could be very easily just go about my way, retire, don't worry about it, go on vacation and cruises and that kind of stuff. But, I have a responsibility to my community to serve it. And that's what I intend on doing. So I hope everybody votes for me and agrees with what I'm saying, and if they have suggestions or ideas or, bring them forward. Let's talk about them. They can call me. They can email me.
I say have discussions.
This is our community.
That's what's missing. That's what's missing nowadays.
If I win, I'm just a representative. I'm your voice. I'm the voice of the people for that district seat. And, I may not agree with it, but if it's what the majority wants, then it's my responsibility to bring it forward. the end
So
of the day.
I want to catch up on some stuff. Miss Huffman, I appreciate you tuning in. Miss Peggy, I appreciate you tuning in. Nicole Rice, she says that's why trade schools and military is the best way to go. Nikki says that because she's military. Appreciate your service, Nikki. You know, she's a good teacher and good coach. Middle school doesn't have home ec anymore because they said there's no funding, I was told. Most schools have no funding for home ec in middle school. That's sad. You know, that it's sad. It is sad because I remember having home ec. Do I wish I would have paid a little bit more attention? Yeah, because I was trying to just make the biggest, you know, pancake and everything back at Fox Chapel, you know.
Nikki, I'm going to talk to Nikki if she's watching, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's easy to say we don't have the money. It's easy to say we can't do that. But you know what? At the end of the day, can't never did a darn thing. All right. So you have to find out and you got to figure it out. And you have to go back to the drawing board and you have to be innovative. And we can't continue to keep, you know, doing the same thing over and over again. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and having the same results. So we've got to change, and times are changing. The world is changing, and we have to change with it. And if we don't change, we're all going to be, you know, sorry at the end of the day.
So Leland Chip says, I have one more question for John. John, so what are your top 2 or 3 priorities if elected to the school board?
Well, my number one priority, number 1 and 2, is to support our teachers, strongly support our teachers. Let them know that they can come forward and not be retaliated on, because past administrations, I hear this all the time, you know, that people were retaliated on. You know, as I'm going through and you know, trying to get endorsements from people, lots of teachers want to endorse me, but they're afraid of retaliation. Unbelievable amount. That's unacceptable. Our educators are who's teaching our kids, for gosh sakes. I mean, we need to support them 100%. We need to stand behind them, give them an avenue of protection. We're not doing that. We have to do that. And we have to support our children. We have to be able to keep them safe in the classroom. We have to be able to not allow bullies and kids in schools to pick on them and make them leave. We have to retain our children. We have to give them a good education. We have to be able to give them the opportunities to succeed in life, whether that's they want to go to college or they want to start a trade or learn a trade. We have to lay that. That's our responsibility as a school district, is to teach the next generation. And then the third thing is create a magnet trade school. I mean, that is a absolute must. And I mean, we have some programs in place now. I mean, we have a few. We have the nursing academy at Crystal River, and there's a veterinarian academy over there, I believe. And we have a new welding thing at Lecanto High, and there's a couple little things, one going on at the middle school after school, and then there's another little program at the elementary school in Floral City. But we need to do better than that. We need a real trade school like, you know, CFCC is over there. But we need to prepare them early on, so when they get out of high school, they can go into that trade school, get their degree, and in a short period of time and be productive.
I got a couple other questions that are not shown. Coach Dylan, who I coach with, Dylan said, how do you feel about getting the schools actually involved in community programs and sports again? So like local, so like youth sports, youth programs, like I know like Twisted Art over there in Inverness, they do a lot of theater stuff. They do a lot of plays and stuff like that. What can we do to like incorporate? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, like as a former guy that used to run a organization for Pop Warner and Cheer, like for football and stuff, football and cheer, I always wanted to have a relationship with the middle school, with the high school. We had when I was with Inverness Storm, we had the black and gold. We were kind of like, the farm system to the IMS and to, Citrus High School.
Right.
And all we wanted was a relationship like for instance, like South Sumter has and Dunellen has with all their, from elementary school on up. And I don't know why we can't have that here. I think that's what he's trying to ask in a way.
I think it starts by having a school board that will listen, okay, and having an advocate on the school board for those, those outside types of sports and events and things that go on. I know, I've been to several of those things. The 352 League has basketball, and they have Little League around, and they do soccer and flag football. And why don't we open our fields up to them? I understand that there's issues with our fields and that they can't use our fields. Why not? I mean, it's taxpayers' money, and those kids are taxpayers, their parents are. And we should be able to partner with them. There may be some liability issues there, but those are all things that can be worked around. They're all things that can be resolved. But communication with a school board member or the board in general, which would give direction to the superintendent to make it work. You remember early on, I told you that the school board sets the direction. Well, that's one of the things that they can do. They can say, look, we want to partner with, these other leagues, and you go figure that out, and then bring it back to us. And but you have to have an advocate to do that. And, I grew up playing, Pee Wee football and Little League football and soccer and baseball. I mean, in my community. And so, I did that as a kid. My son, he played Little League baseball and soccer and stuff like that. So, having an advocate, and I'll be that advocate for them. You can talk, some people that know me. When I sat on the county commission, when I sat on the county commission, when I tell you that I'm going to do something, you can believe it's coming. Okay. Yeah. One way or another, I'm going to say it. They may not like it, but it's coming. Okay. Okay. And I will fight for our community.
Yeah. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when I see to me, you got to think about it. In order to have continuation of kids wanting to play high school sports, you got to let them be involved so they can have somebody to look up to and say, hey, I want to be like that kid when I grow up. You know what I mean? To me, well, that exactly, local role models too. And that's the thing. South Sumter, they're able to bring their kids out to the tunnel, and they could run through the tunnel with the older kids, the high school kids. We were never able to do that. We were never able to do a Pop Warner night. We were never able to do a just youth programs. I think they should have youth programs involved in high school sports and stuff. I understand it's a liability, but sign waivers.
Oh, come on. I hear these people saying, oh, well, we can't do this because of liability. We can't do that for liability. Well, let me tell you something. They put kids on a football field in the middle of the summertime. Okay. And they don't say they have a liability. So you're not going to, I'm not buying that argument. There's ways around stuff, and there's, that's just an excuse, and, excuses are just an easy way to get you from, keeping, what you want to do. And those kinds of things aren't acceptable to me. John, they're just not.
John, one of my football coaches used to tell me all the time, excuses are like butts. Everybody has one and they all stink. Okay. So, to me, it's one of those things where I feel like there's ways that we can do it. It's just, do we want to do it? And to me, they need to do it, because I'm telling you right now, if you get more people involved, more people are going to be a lot more happier, and everything like that. Now, granted, are you going to make everybody happy? No. I understand that. Trust me. I ran a football organization for a long time, football and cheer organization for a good while. Okay, you're not always going to get along with everybody. You're not always going to make everybody happy. You're going to have those disgruntled customers. But the majority of if we all say, we as adults in this county say we're all about the kids, then show it. You know, you're willing to show it because you're willing to back it up. And to me, that's what I love about you.
Here's I don't mean to step on you here, but here's something that I was at a baseball game, the Little League playoffs, okay, at Whispering Pines Park.
Yes, sir.
And I was talking to parents and talking to people, you know, coaches and all that stuff. And they were talking about, and we got literally a 5-minute downpour and for 2 days in a row, and they had to postpone the games. Okay. And I said, well, why are they postponing the games? Well, the fields won't drain. I'm like, what do you mean the fields won't drain? If you look at the fields, they don't maintain them. They don't keep them upright. There are people in this community that have equipment that kids play baseball and football will come in there and fix them for nothing. They'll bring their equipment on a Saturday in a couple of dump trucks and they'll do what they got to do to fix the stuff. Why aren't we partnering with them? Why don't we say, yeah, okay, oh, well, liability won't allow. What do you mean liability? So the guy signs a waiver. Okay, that's what they make those for. And why we're not doing that and allowing, I mean, I talked to Gary Bartell Jr. not too long ago about the football field over in La Canto, the practice field. It's a mess over there. But he can't get with anybody to allow. They've raised, I don't know, $30,000 or $40,000 to fix the field, and they won't even let him fix the field. What's wrong with these people? Like why? You got somebody that's willing to put
John. That's why we need you. That's why we need you, John.
I'm just
we
saying,
need you.
It just makes no sense to me. It's just, you know, it's mind-boggling. I'm like, you know, where's your common sense, people? You have someone that's willing to spend their hard-earned money and their time for you for nothing, and you say no? Like, really?
Listen,
it's amazing.
I will bring this up because I'm kind of an open book, okay? When it comes to people knowing me, I tell it like it is and everything like that. I had a conversation with two county commissioners. I had conversations with two of them almost at the same time. And they go, well, what can we do? Well, I said something about we need to get fields done. We need to get this done. We need to get that done. They told me that they will look into it, but they've looked into, you know, the sports complex, all this stuff, right? Well, to me, I've been hearing about this rumor since I was in middle school, John. You know, when I grew up in Spring Hill, we were always told that Six Flags was going to be built off of 50 or somewhere in the cow pastures. There was tons of cow pastures available, or over there by Weeki Wachee, Buccaneer Bay. They were going to build Six Flags over there because they were going to take all that land and build Six Flags. So I replied back to the county commissioner. I said, yeah, and I heard Six Flags is going to open up too in Spring Hill.
Hey, they've been talking about a sports complex in Citrus County for 30 years. Okay. Mike Hampton, I don't know if you remember him or not, but yes, Mike Hampton was a baseball player that went to Crystal River High School, and he came back and wealthy guy now. And he wanted to, you know, partner and create a sports complex out towards Hernando area. And it's just talk is all it is. I mean, you know, it's upsetting to me. And you know, I love animals. And I'm going to vary a little bit here. I love animals. Okay. But to spend $24 million on an animal shelter, and we got baseball fields, and we got soccer fields that are not being maintained properly. Okay. Like there's any number of buildings that we could have chosen to put an animal shelter in for, you know, a couple $1 million, but we're treating animals better than we're treating our kids. That's just not, I mean, I'm sorry if people don't like that. I love animals and I think we should have a new animal shelter, but at the end of the day, there's got to be a limit to what we spend and how we prioritize things. And we're just not prioritizing things properly in this county. That's my opinion. And I'm sure there's going to be some elected people that may be watching this that's not going to be happy with that, but that's just my opinion.
Well, to add to that, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong. I believe there was a woman that, a wealthy woman that was told that basically she would. It was it that she left her money to her cat and to go ahead and donate that. Is that correct? Do you know if I'm? Did you hear me?
Yeah. That's,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got a
No,
call.
no, you're good. No, I figured that. I heard the Clint Eastwood, the good, bad, and
Yeah.
ugly.
That was good
I
timing,
love that. I
wasn't
love
it?
that movie. No, I was
Give
saying,
him
I
some of the
believe, correct me
business.
if I'm wrong, that lady left her money. It was a wealthy lady that left a good amount of money to her cat to donate towards building that shelter. Now, I get it. You know, I agree with you. We need to take care of our kids and everything like that. So,
Yeah,
you know,
I don't know the particulars on how the
yeah,
funding
but
is.
I just
I know they bonded. I
yeah,
know they bonded a lot of money for it.
yes,
That you know, but that's a whole nother conversation. We could go down the
yes.
county commission road on
No,
another subject, on another
well,
topic someday.
we'll talk about that some other time. We're talking
Yeah,
about the
yeah,
school board district seat
yeah.
3.
But we're talking about
Yeah,
kids, and you know,
kids
and
that
we
deserve
just
better.
you know, and I'm not saying that our school board members that are there now aren't advocates for kids, because they are. Okay, they are advocate for our kids, and they do
Mhm.
the best that they know how to do. And that's I just bring a different perspective, you know. I mean, it's
Yes,
not that they don't know or they don't want to do it, or you know, I just have a different perspective. I mean, my you know, being a past commissioner and being a local business guy, and you know, I'm just going to bring a different look at things
mhm.
that I'm sure the majority of those individuals sitting up there will agree with. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't see how they can't. And you know, you're a team when you're up there, so hopefully, you know, we bring this stuff up. We have good debate about it. We talk it through. We give people, you know, their point of view and our point of view, and you know, the community's point of view, and you do what's best in the long run for the community as a whole.
yeah. Michelle Chapman, she I've known her forever. She's a sweet lady, and everything. As a substitute, I hear both sides, parents and teachers. Teachers leave because of lack of support, not enough PAR or pairs, with which are a huge part of the classroom, especially with the littles. Not enough help with behavior issues, large classrooms sizes. Parents pull their kids because of bullying issues and the lack of support with 504s and IEPs. What do you
Yeah.
have to say about that?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Just hit
thank
on
you for
that.
the question.
Okay.
Thank you for the question, and it's a good one. My wife is a retired teacher from the Citrus County school system, so
Okay.
I know exactly what she's talking about because I hear about it. I heard about it. You know, that was one of the driving forces when this came open, was, you know, having to listen to her every night come home, you know, literally in tears about not being supported and not having enough help in the classroom. And, you know, little Johnny did this. And, you know, I mean, she got her life threatened. I mean, she had students threaten to kill her. Okay. And they were back in the classroom the next day. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, that's unacceptable behavior. Now, I'm telling you that the school board probably doesn't know that because it doesn't ever get to them. You know, in their defense, they don't know this because it doesn't get to them. That's why we have to have a policy in place that once we find out what these problems are, now the teachers and the parents have a means to be able to go up the chain to where the higher up people can understand what the problems are, and the superintendent can understand what the problems are, because they're not telling him, they're not telling the school board. This is all
No.
lower management stuff that takes place that gets stopped. And I know this. I mean, my wife lived it for, you know, a better part of 15 years.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that are going on that I'm aware of. And putting the policies in place that we talked about early on will show that. It's not going to just be, well, your wife said this or that. No, I can show that, and we can get the real data that shows it. And that's what I want. I want the data. We all know what the problems are. We just got to get the people to tell us in a way that they're not going to be retaliated on. And you know, and teachers, I mean, teachers are good people. You know, they don't work. I mean, I said it earlier, they don't do this for the money. They do it for the love. They want to teach the next generation, and then they get shit on. Excuse my language. I mean, I shouldn't have said that, but that's, you know, some of them do. And they're passive people. They're non-confrontational, 80% of them. And they just take it and go on. And that's unacceptable. That I can tell you, if I get there, that will not happen if I'm there.
Yeah.
I will make hay out of that. And people will know that, you know, there's no more of this stuff going to happen. I understand the process. I understand how to make things happen as a past commissioner. You know, I know how to work my way through the process to, you know, to dig that stuff out. You know, I'm not a rookie. I'm not a first time. I'm not going to be a guy that's just going to have to learn where the hallways are at. I understand policy, procedure. Understand. I understand that. I lived it.
Yeah.
So I hear what she's saying at the end of the day, and I agree with her.
RJ says, how do you manage the school district or to school district budget when parents are increasingly withdrawing their children from the public school system? It's a good question.
I don't know if he was listening earlier on, but that's where those internal audits come into play. You know, I mean, the school district should be looking at these things on a 3, 6, 9 month basis, you know, projections. You know, how much are we losing? What are we projected to lose next year? And they're doing that now. I mean, I know I've watched the school board meetings, and the superintendent is doing a great job. The direction from the board has been very, very clear. You know, they're projecting these reductions. You know, they're planning ahead for it. They're doing what they know how to do to, you know, to try and balance their budget. But it's only going to get worse in time, as we said earlier. And that's where a business guy comes into play. And we start talking about these situations of partnering with the county and other constitutional officers for human resources, duplication of services, you know, buying supplies, you know, fuel for vehicles, the sheriff and the county, you know, how much fuel does the sheriff, you know, use? How much fuel does the school district use for buses? And, you know, how can we bulk buy and have a centralized place where we can purchase fuel for, you know, less money? And how can we, you know, work together to buy office supplies, cleaning supplies, maintenance? You know, can we use maintenance workers? Can we privatize things? Those are the types of things that you're going to have to look at in order to balance the budget as we progress, because, you know, in 5 years, if you lose $4 million a year, that's $20 million. $20 million is a big hit. You know, our budget is, you know, $340 million. You know, you're talking about losing what, you know, 5 or 10% of it.
Yeah.
You know, those are big numbers, and you have to get creative. That's the only way you can do it. I mean, like I told you earlier on, we did that when I was a commissioner back in 2010, when we hit that recession and we lost money from Duke Energy and all that, and we had to balance the budget. And, you know, hey, we cut employees because we had to. You know, we did, you know, things, you know, people had to do a little bit more work than what they normally would have to do. You know, we had to, you know, we stopped paying for insurance for spouses and things like that. I mean, people weren't happy with it, but at the end of the day, I mean, government's not a free ride. And, you know, it's not a happy thing. And at the end of the day, people are going to, you know, not be happy with some of the decisions that are made. But, you know, we have a responsibility to provide that service to the community and not wastefully spend money.
Yeah. I got another question from someone offline. How do we handle students that basically get in trouble and then it gets swept under the rug by higher ups, and then they do a couple days of OSS or a week or two, and then they're right back in. What can we do about the discipline issues that we have going on with our youth?
Well, that's a question I wished I had the answer to. Number one, our higher ups need to be held accountable for those things. If our teachers are documenting the problems with the children, that goes back to having support in the classroom. Sometimes the teachers don't have that support that they need to document that particular student that's creating these problems and issues. Some of it is, I think, just the district's afraid to get sued.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I hear that, oh, well, we can't do that. We might get sued, or we might, or, we're afraid of what the parents might do or say or whatever. Well, we can't be afraid of that. We can't let a few bad apples ruin the whole crop. And if that means that we're going to have to, take some of them to court, and we're going to have to let them sue us to prove that we're right, then that's what we have to do. I mean, I don't want to do that, but at the expense of everyone else, we're gonna just let a few of them dictate to us. No, that's not acceptable. And I think that's a big fear. And I think that if you do that a few times and you send that shot across the bow, that kind of stuff will stop happening. But it takes courage. It takes, the fortitude to be able to stand up and do that. And that's not an easy thing to do. It's just not. It's easier just to, we don't want to deal with that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not on the school board now. I don't know how they handle those certain situations. Maybe that's what they do. I don't know.
Well, if they don't,
I certainly haven't heard that.
Well, I think it's because it doesn't get up to that level. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't get all the way to the higher ups because someone puts a kibosh to it. And, to me, when it comes to this disciplinary issues, I feel like, look, I get it. We live in a different society nowadays compared to when you grew up and when I grew up and everything like that. But I also know too that I feel like a lot of kids don't get enough love at home. I feel like parents.
Yes, a lot of it is it starts at the home.
Yes, it does. It does.
And
I also
and you can't do anything to fix that. I mean, other than you can try to educate them and bring them in and try to, counsel them and share their concerns and that kind of stuff. But, at the end of the day, parents have to be accountable to their kids and themselves. And I mean, it's not wouldn't be my responsibility to do that. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, it's just, you can only do so much. I mean, we can certainly try and help them, but at the end of the day, they have to, discipline their children at home. And they understand that, there's consequences in the world. And if we don't discipline children when they're younger, we're just setting them up for failure as they get older. If we just keep letting them go, and then once they get out of high school, then they get the real thing. And then, Sheriff Vincent over there is taking them to jail. And then there's real consequences to their actions. And, some of the things that we do, is trying to save them from failure by not disciplining them at a younger age for failure for when they get older. And they think, oh, well, I got away with it when I was 15, 16. And then when they hit 18, well, now all of a sudden that's not the case. And now they're in jail and they have problems. So it's a balancing act.
I feel like it's, just as a whole, like the whole country, I feel like there's a lot of deep rooted issues that go on because the fact that we're not being respectful to other people with authority. Teachers used to get more respect back in the day. You had people actually wanting to bring an apple to their teacher and, and all that stuff. But now you don't even do that. You got, is every teacher innocent? No. Is every bus driver innocent? No. But I feel like we have, when it comes to being adults, and I feel like teachers and bus drivers have kind of a they're so far out there compared to, with the kids, because the fact is the kids, some of them they get parent when they get, they have parents that are, and I'm not trying to say all parents are bad. I'm just saying there's parents that are trying to be friends with their kids instead of being an actual parent. And I feel like that sometimes makes it bad for the kids when it comes to going to school. But I also feel like, too, these kids nowadays, they just need to understand they need to actually do their work. They need to be held accountable when it comes to not getting behind on their assignments, because to me, that right there does not help, does not help the teacher, does not help the student. I always preached, hey, student athlete. Every time I coach football, anytime I coach sport, I go, hey, you're a student athlete. Just like I tell all my football players, you are a football player, not a quarterback, not just a wide receiver. You are a football player. So to me, like, when it comes to these kids, they need to understand that they need to be more disciplined. The parents need to help out the teachers need to help out the parents, and and everybody needs to start helping each other out, because I feel like we got one of the greatest, I hate to quote Will Wilson because he's a Florida State fan, but Will Wilson always says we live in one of the greatest freaking counties in the United States of America and in the world. We do.
We can't just point fingers at everybody.
No,
but, we're living in a changing world, with computers and cell phones and, two parents having to work, and, it's a changing world. So we have to learn to change and adapt with it. And, some of the things that you're talking about with disciplinary action, we don't have a whole lot of control over it because the state ties our hands with certain things. So that's when we have to, get together with other districts and go forward and try and get legislation changed that allows us to, to work on those issues and take care of those things. Because some of it can't be dealt with at the local level. It just can't. I mean, a lot of the funding is tied to some of this stuff, and it's just not working. So, and we're not the only school district that has that problem. It's, there's problems throughout the state. But unless you have people on the school board that are willing to address the problem and then team up with other counties and other districts throughout and come together as a group and say, hey, look, how do we fix, we need to fix these issues. This is the problems that we're having. Your legislation is tying our hands. And it's becoming, harder for us to survive as a school district.
It is.
And those are the things that, as a past commissioner, I mean, I did a lot of that stuff, I dealt with legislators and, congressmen and senators and that kind of stuff. So, I understand, how to, maneuver through the hallways of Tallahassee and those kinds of things to, get those initiatives, at least listened to.
Yeah. Miss Peggy says, and I'm going to read it. We like your common sense ideas. We do need to set our youth up so they will be successful. And it is refreshing to hear you will get answers to questions that have long gone unanswered. We feel you will be respectfully bold in finding ways of obtaining and retaining teachers, getting answers to questions that have been avoided, exploring alternatives, or both. Teachers and students that will improve and inspire their education. Our youth, our future, and proper education of all of them is crucial. Basically, she says you're the right candidate. Miss Peggy says that, John. So
Well,
hey,
I appreciate that, Miss Peggy, and I'm just a real person like everybody else. I have a family. I have business. That's what I know. I mean, I'm not. There's no frills. What you see is what you get, and sometimes to my demise, I say things that I probably shouldn't say, but that's just my nature. I mean, it's
mhm.
The good Lord puts certain people in places because He knows that we'll say things that some people won't say, and that's where I'm at. I'm gonna be someone that's gonna look at things with a practical approach, common sense, and bring an outside view to things. So I appreciate your comments very much.
Listen, this is the reason why I want to have you on, because I feel like this is what a lot of candidates don't get to do. Just chill, be themselves. They don't got to put a front on. John, that's the reason why I love it. You're a people person. Like they used to call The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. They used to call him the people's champ. You're the people's champ right now, man.
Well,
that should make you feel good.
I certainly hope so come August 18th. And by the way, that's my birthday, everybody. So, give me a birthday gift and vote for me on August 18th. But yeah, I mean, that's you. A lot of your politicians probably won't come on and do what I just did. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, sit here for over an hour and field questions, but it's what I like to do,
They have the opportunity. I give everybody opportunity. Like I told you, I'm like the fat guy version of Joe Rogan, but with hair and a beard. I don't work out. So the only thing I do is I do pull-ups with the chicken wings and everything like that. So now let me ask you,
Nice.
let's get into a couple things that are not so serious. I appreciate you telling everybody, and everything like that. Let's see. Leland says, I challenge John to a chicken wing eating contest. John, you got he knows he called you out. He called you out, not me.
He called me out. Okay, Mr. Hatchet. We're gonna go. I don't know if y'all know who Leland Ship is, but he's AKA the Hatchet. He's been all over the county commissioners and bringing accountability to the local government. But I'll go and eat chicken wings, and if you eat more than me, then I buy, and if I eat more than you, then you buy. How's that?
Oh man. Oh, so hey, a couple things. We'll get into food.
Nick,
right now.
You can come judge it. How's that?
Listen, I can't judge it.
Okay.
I gotta go eat the wings with you. But hey, that's a good
No,
question.
I'm not getting a wing contest with you. You'll out-eat us.
Listen,
You're young. You eat more than me.
Listen, I'm just gonna tell you this. Years and years ago, there was a Beef O'Brady's on County Line Road in Spring Hill, and they had all you can eat wings on Wednesday. I ate 90 wings in one sitting, John. So just throwing it out there.
I can do maybe I might be able to do a dozen if I don't eat any French fries, but I don't eat a lot of that fried stuff anyhow. So
yes, I understand that, but hey, some good wings. Leland says deal. So just to let you know, deal. That's a deal.
Okay.
So now, good question. The good question to segue and to go in. What's a good place for you for chicken wings? What's your favorite? What's one of your favorite places around here?
I like the Cove, and I like Debbie Wings at the Cove.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I like them.
They're really
okay.
Good. Yeah.
All right.
I like that Debbie sauce at the Cove.
Yeah. So I'm a big wing guy. Okay. So I will tell you a couple of places of mine. since we like I like to support local, but I also like to support mom and pop places too, all around the state and wherever I go. So Lollygaggers garbage wings, blue cheese is the best blue cheese. I'm a blue cheese guy. I can't do ranch unless we're getting wings at Angelotti's. Okay. And we have to get Angelotti wings, but you got to get the house sauce on the side. You got to get them blackened. House sauce on the side with the ranch. Okay. You won't go wrong with that. All right. And then there's a place off of Pleasant Grove Road, Neighborhood Pizza. They got good pizza. They got good wings. I mean, big wings. Like you thought they came off a pterodactyl or something. Okay.
Wow.
Very good wings. Those are my favorite places to get wings around here. And then if you're traveling down 19 going towards Clearwater and you're in Palm Harbor off of 19, it's called Pizza Joe's. Pizza Joe's Taste of Buffalo. They are the best wings in the entire state of Florida, and I will fight people for that title, because I'm going to tell you right now, Pizza Joe's, we'll clip this part, but Pizza Joe's Taste of Buffalo down in Palm Harbor, John and all those folks that run that place, they're amazing people. I love them. They have a sauce called Murph sauce that they get shipped from Buffalo that some guy in the basement makes. It makes it for all the bars around Buffalo, and they're the only place down here that can get the Murph sauce. It is amazing.
Hey, my ex-wife, okay?
Yes.
Family is from Buffalo.
Okay.
And I went to Buffalo years ago and went to the original bar that started the Buffalo wings and won the best Buffalo chicken wings in Buffalo for 10 years in a row. And it's an old dive bar downtown Buffalo with a wooden plywood floor. I mean, it's the neatest place you'll ever go to. And I actually had the best Buffalo chicken wings in Buffalo probably 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. So that's my Buffalo wing story.
Okay. All right. Okay. I like it.
The name of the place was called Callahan's. Callahan's was the name of it.
All right. I tried the place called Duff's down in Tampa yesterday. A little bit too pricey for my liking. You shouldn't charge over $30 for 20 wings, but they were pretty good. But they're no Pizza Joe's.
And you know how the wings came? They came in a pitcher of beer, a beer pitcher. The wings were in the beer pitcher, tossed in the sauce, and that's how they served them to you. No beer in the pitcher, just the wings.
Okay.
Kind of a neat way.
Oh man. That makes me that's that right there. Let's see what else. What are some of your favorite mom and pop places around Citrus County?
Well, my favorite, probably where I go a lot, is El Ranchito's Mexican restaurant in Inverness, over by where the movie theater is. Love that place. That's really good. And Pudgy's hamburgers.
Yes.
You ever been to Pudgy's? They got great hamburgers in there.
Yes, they
Pudgy's
do.
is really good. Pudgy's Lollygaggers, of course. I mean, everybody loves Lollygaggers.
Gotta love Miss Brenda.
Yeah,
gotta love Miss Brenda.
Good person. Yep, I know her. I know her whole family. The Barcos, good people.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite places to go. Naturally, I go to the Cove, and we go downtown to Coach's, and those kinds of things. But I'm not a big franchise guy like Outback and those kind of places. I don't go there much. We go to local places. We try and patronize those guys.
You gotta support the locals.
Joe's restaurant downtown for breakfast. Papa
Okay.
J's is really good for breakfast. And I actually got to give a shout out to Reds out there in Hernando.
Yes.
He has got the best pancakes in the world. Reds does.
Yes.
So yeah, those are my favorite breakfast places.
Shane, Miss Tara. I tell them all
Yeah.
the time. I always try to promote them on the show. I always tell everybody. In fact, I went on Pinellas podcast. Pinellas Live is called. It's a podcast, and I went on there and I told him. I said, I go. Listen, you're gonna be so full, they're gonna wheelbarrow you out. He goes, that you should market that and put it on the T-shirt or something. I was like, listen, I'm telling you, you won't go out there hungry. If you did not eat all your food, that's or not even or close to half of your food, then that means you did not do a good job of eating all your food. You know, like you didn't. That's the reason why you're not full. So I always leave there full, so full that I don't even want to eat the rest of the day.
It's funny when you go there and you're sitting down and the table next to you says, "I'll take 3 pancakes." And you look over at them and you go, "You've never been here before, have you?" And they go, "No, why?" And if they're, "Well, you'll see." And they come and they see those 3 giant pancakes. And you're like, "Holy mackerel. I didn't realize they were that big."
Yes.
Yeah. Red's a good guy. I've known Shane a long time. Good people. Big supporter of mine too. Shane is. Shane's a big supporter of mine. So
good. Because they're great people. In fact, their daughter Demi played football for me, and she. Let me tell you a story about her. She hit a kid so hard in a game. The referee goes, "That's a girl."
That's awesome.
Yeah, she hell of an athlete. Great people, great family. Love supporting them. I love the burger station and everything. Yep. So, I just, to me, like, I love mom and pop places, and Chicken King. I love all those places that need our business, and that's the reason why like I'm glad you're on, because we need people like you that support local, that are. Your pockets ain't lined. You have no agenda except making us better, getting us better, getting everybody together and making us better. With that being said, because I told you I wasn't going to try to go 2 hours with you, so I want to kind of like ease it out. So tell me, because this is my last question for you, and then I want you to plug your stuff. Tell me 3 things you're grateful for.
Well, I guess the first thing I'm most grateful for is my relationship with God. Without God and the Holy Spirit in my life, where are any of us at? That's the thing I'm most grateful for. And I guess the second thing is my son and my wife and my family. Without them, you don't have a cornerstone to your life. So it gives me, something to live for every day. Teach my son business. Being with my wife, who is an awesome lady. And those are the things that I'm most grateful for at the end of the day. And my health. I've had some health issues in the past. Nothing that's going to take me out by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm thankful for my health. It's very important to stay healthy.
Yes, it is. It's very hard to stay healthy when you got such damn good food around. But you gotta try to stay healthy. Try to exercise. I've had a customer that told me, if you rest, you rust. So I'm glad you're not resting.
I try and walk almost a mile every day. I don't do it every day, but usually 5 days a week I walk a mile. Not run, I just walk. It keeps me going, keeps my legs good, and that keeps me active. But I don't eat a lot of that food. I do eat it from time to time, but I have not to get into any medical things, but I do have stage 3 kidney disease. At one time I lost one of my kidneys. I'm stable, but I got to watch my diet. Everything is fine, but I don't want to do anything that's gonna short my life. So I'm
No.
very selective. We go out to eat a couple times here and there, but when we do go, we go to the local guys for sure.
Mhm. Yep.
Breakfast more
Oh.
than anything. We usually go after church to breakfast almost every Sunday.
Oh my goodness. I love breakfast. I could eat breakfast
Yeah.
no matter what time
Yeah.
of the day it is, John.
Yeah.
I could eat breakfast
Yeah.
all the time. You're right up my alley. There's and you know what makes me sad is I love pancakes. I love French toast and pancakes and everything. I love me some waffles, but they gotta be Belgian waffles. But there's a place up in Minnesota, and I really don't know where they get this syrup from. It's a blueberry syrup, and it's so damn good that I could put it on anything. And I mean anything, and I would eat it because it's so good. I mean, it's so good. And it's up in there's a restaurant off of it up in Duluth that serves it. And I don't know. I told them, I said, I went up there one time. And I said, look, I don't know where you get your blueberry syrup from, but I need you to give me a whole truckload and send it to this address. So that's how much I love that blueberry syrup. But no, I can never find good blueberry syrup like that. So, but go ahead, plug away, plug where we can find you, what important days we can do to vote and everything like that.
Okay. Well, as you all know, Election Day is August 18th. It's coming up rather rapidly. People can vote early from August 7th through the 15th at early voting sites throughout the county. You can go on my Facebook page. I don't have it posted just yet, but I'm going to have it posted where the early voting sites are at. They can call the supervisor of elections. They can get an absentee ballot if they're not going to be around. They'll send you one of those. You can go on our Facebook page. There's all kinds of videos and things on there that you can see where I talk about my platform or talk about teacher retention, student retention, magnet schools. You can go see videos of business supports that support me. We got, all kinds of fun things on there. Hopefully we'll be able to post this on there as well. So if people want to watch it, they can come back and watch that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I just ask for everybody's support, prayers from people to, that the community makes the decisions that's best for the county, whoever that might be, whether it be me or my opponent. I hope it's me by all means. I just look forward to serving the community, and I really appreciate you, Nick, for reaching out to me and getting to meet you. We haven't actually met face to face yet, but I'm sure we will at some point. Keep up the good work with what you're doing. And, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens in August.
Yes.
And I thank you for having us on and everybody that viewed. Hopefully you got good viewership today. And thank everybody for tuning in and watching. And if they have any questions, my phone number is 352-302-5330. Call me as long as it's not late at night. You can go on Facebook. You can message me. My email is thrumston@gmail.com. Shoot me an email and tell me what you need, and we're there for you.
Now, I forgot to ask one question, and I apologize, but can I just make this statement to you? Can we do something about policies and stuff? Can we update these policies that have so much gray area and so much like it's not enough detail, or like too much detail?
The short answer
can we do
is
that? Yes.
Thank you. We can.
Thank you.
And I don't know, I don't know how often the school district looks over their policies and procedures and gets rid of old ones, bring new ones in, administrative regulations, things like that, that just need to be updated and gone through. And,
yes, need an update, please.
As things change, situations change, so those are all things that I'll be looking at, talking with the superintendent if I get elected, going over those kinds of things. What can we do better? How can we change things? How can we support our community better? How can we just do better. I mean, you know, it's great to hear all the good things that the school district's doing, that their, you know, their grades are coming up and their schools, and, you know, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Okay. At the end of the day, it's great that those things are happening. But what I want to hear is what we're not doing, what we're not doing correctly. What can we do better? That's what's going to make us even better. I mean, it's great listening to all the good stuff, but the bad stuff is not what anybody wants to hear. And that's what we got to start having conversations about, getting the bad stuff out. You know, what are the things that we're lacking in? Where are we? How can we do better? What can we do better? And then, you know, add those policies in place, and everybody wins. You know, bring the community, and everybody wins at the end of the day. We have a great school system now, but it can be better. You know, I mean, it can be better. I mean, you know, there are people that are not happy with it for whatever reasons that they have. But you're not going to make everybody 100% happy. But at the end of the day, if we can find out what we're doing wrong and we can fix those things, we can just get ourselves even better. And we have a good school board. I mean, the board members that are sitting there are good people. We got a good superintendent.
I love Mr. Hebert. I love Mr. Hebert. So, Mr. Hebert is the man.
It's time for a little change. It's time for a change. You know, it's time to bring a business guy on that board that can give a little different perspective and a little bit of, take my experience that I have in life as being a past commissioner and business guy, and bring that to that board and make good decisions with those people that are there. And everybody wins. You know,
Yes,
I don't want to be the guy that's going to tell everybody they're doing this wrong or they're doing that wrong. That's not my nature.
No.
I want to bring suggestions and have dialogue to make things better,
Yes,
and they don't have to be, it doesn't have to be my idea. I don't want credit for any of this stuff. At the end of the day, it just, hey, let's work together at it and fix it and move on. I don't need credit, at the end of the day.
Listen, everybody, go follow his page, go vote for him. I'm not going to tell you again. If you want change, you want somebody that's for the people, vote the people's champ, vote John, vote him in, please.
Thrumston. There you go. You got it.
I got it. So go vote for John Thrumston. And I'm going to tell you right now, go vote for him. You have until August 18th, and that's his birthday. So make his birthday worth it. Okay. So go subscribe to us. All right.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you too. You have a good night.
You too. All right, folks.
Bye,
everybody. Peace
out.
Bye,
everybody. Thanks. Yep.